We never talked about price. I never received a billing.
We're not going to be able to come to a resolution in this case unless we cut out the baloney.
This is Judge Judy. Renee Roberts is suing event planner Maricela Reyes for the cost of props she created for a fundraiser.
Judge, this is case number 87 on the calendar in the matter of Roberts versus Reyes.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge.
Ms. Roberts, it is your claim that the defendant owes you for some work that you did for a charitable fundraiser that she was involved with.
Yes.
Tell me what the charity was and when the event was.
It's called the Cops and Robbers Ball, and it was May 4th, 2019, and it raises money. It's put on by the Community Law Enforcement Foundation in our town.
How did you find the defendant, or how did she find you?
Well, we have a mutual friend. It's somebody that I do a lot of business with. We're a networking group, and she...
What's that person's
name?
name?
Her name is Terry, and she's also on the committee for this Cops and Robbers Ball. So after one of her committee meetings, she sent me a text and did an introduction between...
You mean Terry did?
Terry did, yes.
Do you have the text?
Yes.
I'd like to see it. Miss Reyes, is he with you?
Yes, she's in the committee.
That's a yes or a no. Is she on the committee with you?
Yes.
Fundraising committee. She was in 2019.
Correct.
And you recall events surrounding planning the Cops and Robbers Ball that night?
Yes.
For whatever night it was going to be, May 4th.
Correct.
Right? Okay. Now I'd like to see the text.
So there's a couple before and after.
Shh. Just a second. Okay. So let us assume for the moment, Ms. Roberts, you had a conversation with Terry via text message. Now, what work were you going to do for the Cops and Robbers Ball?
Well, for the Cops and Robbers Ball, I do their tickets, posters, invitations, stuff like that. And I do a lot of other work with Terry as well in her business and my business. So she was, referring that not just for the Cops and Robbers.
No, just a second.
Okay.
Now we're finished with Terry. I don't want to hear anything that you had to do with Terry.
Okay.
Because now we're on the defendant.
Okay.
You were supposed to do what for this event on May 4th? What do you allege that you have a contract with the defendant to do for the May 4th event?
There were some design of the...
So it was props?
Yes.
Your complaint says cutouts of cops and robbers.
Yeah.
Life-size cutouts.
Yes.
Okay, is that what the props that you're talking about?
Yes.
Now, when for the first time did you speak to the defendant about these props?
I don't know the exact date.
What date?
It's somewhere...
well, let's get to the exact...
Well...
Unless you have a written contract, I'm going to need a date because what you're talking about is a contract to perform work.
Right. So it looks like it was in early February. We spoke on the phone. We tried to meet up back and forth, like we missed phone calls. We tried to meet up.
Tried, coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
Not interested in coulda, woulda, shoulda. You think you had a phone call with her in February of 2020?
Yes.
Do you have that on your phone?
I don't have that phone call on my phone.
Well, why not? You have the text message from Terry that preceded that phone call.
Right.
So why wouldn't you have the phone call in February of 2020? Unless we can skip over that. Did you have a phone conversation with the plaintiff in February of 2020?
Never.
My question is, did you ever speak to her in February or in any other month after February?
After that, yes. She was going to bring me a sample of it.
Sample of what?
Of the cutout that she was doing.
So if she was going to do a cutout as a prop for this event on May 4th,
sample, yes,
there had to be a preceding conversation of someone telling her what the committee wanted. Are you telling me that that wasn't you? You didn't communicate with her what she was supposed to do?
Never.
So the conversation that you had with her, what you're telling me is the only conversation that you had with her up until this point is for her to tell you or you to tell her, bring me a sample of what you're doing.
Correct.
And can you tell me approximately what month that was?
It probably was, and I don't have an exact date. It was probably like late April.
April. And was that the first time you met her?
I've never met her. Most of the communication was with Terry. And
You mean your communication?
was with Terry, yes.
How many times did you speak to the plaintiff?
Never.
Well, you said you did have one conversation with her in April.
Because I had called to see if I could get a sample because we weren't even sure if I was going to be able to use the props. So I wanted them to give me one sample.
Okay. How did you get her phone number?
I'm sure conversation first took place. The fundraiser, everything that I was doing was running around $14,000. And
Listen to me.
okay,
We're not there yet.
okay.
Right now, I'm trying to see if there's a contract here between you
There isn't.
and the plaintiff.
No.
Well, you say there isn't. That's what I'm trying to establish, whether
Okay.
or not there existed a contract between you and the plaintiff.
Correct.
So that's really a burden that's on the plaintiff to demonstrate to me that there existed between the two of you a contract, which was an offer and acceptance and some consideration. The consideration here, according to you, is $882, and you have to tell me exactly when this contract was made, if it was orally. I assume you do not have a written contract.
Correct. It was an oral contract.
So now you have to tell me when that took place. Exactly. When and where it took place.
It was in a phone call, and it was in early March or the end of February.
Did you call her or did she call you?
I don't remember exactly, but I probably called her, and then
Okay.
she told me...
And that was
what-
after... Shh, just a second.
Okay.
And that was after your text log in your phone of that call.
Yeah, I went back to my phone log, and all I could find was the text messages that were after that. So I don't know why the phone log. I probably have in my phone bill, but I didn't bring the copy of the phone call, but just the emails and the text that we sent back and forth.
Well, you sent Terry
Yes.
a text.
Yes, and there's a reason for that.
And you texted Terry back and forth. So now you're going to tell me what you allege this February phone call was between you and the defendant.
So she was giving me the kind of her concept and idea about these props that she wanted and how she was going to try to hang them from helium balloons and hang them from the ceiling. So we weren't sure exactly what materials and how it was going to look and if it was going to work. She was going to use magnets. So I told her that I would come up with some ideas about how it would work, make a sample for her. We talked about a price range of what usually something about that costs.
No, you're not being specific enough for me.
Okay.
You talked about a price range. What did you tell her?
I told her the price range of something that was similar that I've done before was between $58 and $102 each, depending on how we ended up doing it and the materials and that kind
Just
of
a second. So you told her between 58 and 102.
Yes.
And keep going.
And yeah, she said that would be fine. So I said, let me see
what would
what's
be
going to
fine?
work.
58 or 102?
To keep it
I
within.
mean, she's planning a charity event.
Right.
She has a certain budget. I
Right.
assume you had a certain budget. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Is that correct, Ms.
Correct.
Rose? So she's trying to keep it within the budget. You're making a contract with her.
Yes.
You don't make a contract between 58 and 102.
Well,
and she says, okay, then there's no contract.
Well, that was until I can figure out what would be the best way to do it. So once I knew what materials I was going to use and, you know, how I was going to produce it
And when
and
did
print
that
it.
happen?
On March 14th, my husband dropped off the sample to her, and
Okay.
she got
Hold
it.
on. Did her husband drop off a sample to you?
Yes.
March 14th?
I don't remember
At
the
your
date.
house?
I don't no, at the office, at
She
our
says-
warehouse. But yes,
Her husband dropped off a sample at your warehouse March 14th.
if that's the day she says,
Okay.
correct, yes.
Right. She has it down, March 14th. Did you see the sample on that day?
Yes.
Did you communicate with her thereafter?
I must have, yes.
That's either a yes or a no. Did you communicate with her thereafter?
I think I communicated with Terry.
Whether you communicated with Terry or not, did you order?
I ordered them through Terry.
I don't care if you ordered them through Godzilla. You ordered 10 of them after she sent you a sample.
Yes.
And did you make the 10 cutouts?
I made the 10
That's a yes or a no?
Yes.
After she made the 10 cutouts, did you want 2 more? That's a yes or a no.
Yes.
Did she make 2 more?
Yes.
All right. Now we're at a different place.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What is your business?
Party rental, event design.
Okay. You did this event for this charity for money. Just
No.
follow what I'm saying to you. Are you telling me that you donated your time and the materials?
Renee Roberts claims event planner Maricela Reyes never paid for props she created for a police fundraiser.
Now we're at a place where she doesn't have to even show me her phone because the work was performed and you accepted the labor
Correct.
of that work. So your answer when it says, I don't know her anything, I never even met her.
Correct.
Well, I don't care whether you met her or not. If Amazon and they send me 6 bottles of Listerine and I don't pay for it because I said, I never met the people who make Listerine.
Okay, well...
You ordered it.
Okay.
You commissioned it to be done. So I am presuming for the purposes of this questioning that you did have a preliminary discussion with her about what your creative process was with regard to this event and how she could fit in with that process by creating these props. In
Correct.
addition to what else you were doing. So you did have a conversation. Pursuant to that conversation, she did make you a sample. You saw the sample. You ordered 10 of them. You realized you wanted 2 more. You ordered 2 more. So, Miss Reyes, they have to be paid for. Now it's up to you to tell me the price. To whom did you relay what price you ultimately came up with between 58 and 102?
The final price on the final invoice that I sent her a couple days before the event.
Was for how much? For each cutout.
There's 2 different versions, and so one was $70 each and one was $102 each. And so I did have to modify it when it was 12, and then I discounted it 20% because I knew she was also donating it from her end.
Okay, well, I'm going to make this easy because I think that
Trying to explain, excuse me, what I was trying to explain, when we sat in the meeting with the committee, they sat at my office, they were offering me very little money. The total bill was $12,000, $13,000, and I wanted to get more money, and they said, we cannot get more money. And I said, I still have to buy these props, I still have to buy these gobos, I still got to buy jewelry and all this other stuff. Terry then says, don't worry about the cutouts. I could get the cutouts for you.
you can't tell me what Terry said. Listen to me. Listen to me. You're in business.
Correct.
You're in business. Is
But
that
I
right?
never talked to her.
Just a second.
We never talked about
I don't-
price. I never received a billing from her, an invoice or
Let me-
anything. So I never got the
Okay.
invoice. If she said
Miss
she had a
Reyes,
conversation
Miss
with
Reyes,
me,
you did this event for this charity for money. Just
no.
follow what I'm saying to you. Are you telling me that you donated your time and the materials?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She made money. It is unreasonable for her to make money and for you to make nothing. So we're not going to be able to come to a resolution in this case unless we cut out the baloney.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Maricela Reyes of failing to pay for props she created for a police fundraiser.
Now, are you telling me that you donated your time and the materials?
Absolutely. I donated
Just
out
a
of
second.
$13,000, $9,000 of that was donations from me. So my whole objective is how can I make this event look fabulous without spending as least amount of money? Because I still had labor. I still had to buy other product. I was already
Miss
communicating.
Reyes, we're not going to be able to come to a resolution in this case unless we cut out the baloney. What is your business?
I am an event designer.
is your
Party
business?
rental, event design.
Okay. No, just a second. You are an event designer. That is your business. What is the name of your company?
Pro Prep Events.
And when you did this event for
Cops
this
and robbers.
law enforcement,
Right.
Is this the first year that you're doing it?
Nope, third year.
How many other events does your company do for charity during the year?
Probably
Look-
about
look at
three
me.
large.
How many? Very easy. You're a company. We can look up your records.
Right.
How many events does your company do for charity each year?
3.
3 large ones. And how many small ones?
high schools, I don't know, maybe about 10. For another Indian organization for battered Indian women. And then I do the cops and robbers. And then I do one, for Morgan Hill, for the volunteers. Just people that volunteer in our small town.
And you do them for high school?
High school all the time.
Do you ever do events for private people?
Absolutely. That's mostly what I do.
What kind of an events do you do for private people?
Weddings, any celebration, any milestone celebration.
So this is your business.
This is my business.
You are an event...
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm an event designer.
This is your business. You are an event planner.
Correct.
This is your business.
Correct.
They give you a budget to plan the event.
Absolutely.
That's what happens. They give you a budget, and you work within that budget. So what you're telling me is that you were under the impression that these props were going to be donated by the plaintiff. That's what you're telling me.
Just like the Gobles were donated, just like everything else was donated to my company.
No, not your time.
It's not my time. It's also other products. So this person, Terry, also volunteered Gobos. And I never got a bill for that either. So I'm assuming that these weren't being billed.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, $696 is 58 times 12. Is that what you delivered to her? 12?
12, but they
12 props?
They were more than that,
12.
but yes.
But
well, I don't care.
So I have another thing.
If you have any proof, don't speak. If you have any proof to me of the exact amount, then that is more of a contract than what you can sue on here, which is really work performed, or what they call quantum merit, which means that she took the benefit of what you did. She made a little money. If she pays you, she makes a little less money, is really what it comes down to. So if she's dealing with a charity, she gets a lot of people to donate stuff, and she thinks a lot of people are going to donate stuff, and instead of making $3,000 on this, she's going to have to make $2,500 on this one, because you did, in fact, do work which she used. She approved the initial prop that you sent. She used the 10, 2 more, and she communicated that to you. You made the 2 more. She used the 2 more. She made money. It is unreasonable for her to make money and for you to make nothing. So I'm not giving you anywhere near the higher figure you're looking for. But you are entitled to something for your effort. And you said the low end was 58, the high was 102. That comes to $696. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much. We're finished.
This case is completed. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
She called the police 7 times on me, terrorizing me. I need therapy after dealing with this female. I didn't do anything wrong.
It's time to stop. It's time to stop.
Judge Judy.
Well, I think it's a good decision. When you do work, you should get paid.
I disagree because I never communicated. She never called me.
And also, her company was listed as one of the largest sponsors, so she got a lot of credit.
We never talked price, so she lied in court. She literally went out and lied.
For donating it. So I wasn't listed as a sponsor. She was listed as a sponsor. She donated it. She's got to pay up.
And the extra 2 ones, I didn't order them. They ordered them. Everything was for the committee.
She ordered them in situation, but...
So just because Terry goes, we have 2 more tables, I go, that means you need 2 more props. That's what they ordered.
I don't think we'll be working together anymore.
She just stood in court and lied. And that's it.
Pay your bills. You order it up, you got to pay for it.
No, just very disappointed. Very disappointed.
I was outside witnessing everything.
First, her boyfriend battled her neighbor.
You know that he was just being a jerk.
He's a very tall gentleman, so I did call the police.
Then her father joined the fight.
He called me a prostitute. His other daughter started calling me names.
I did call her a few names. I didn't call her no prostitute. I used other words.
I wouldn't smile if I were you.
This is Judge Judy. Chanel Barnes is suing her neighbor, Brittany Ponce, and her father, Richard, for a car insurance deductible, rental car charges, and harassment.
Now, this is case number 113 on the calendar in the matter of Barnes versus Ponce. Parties have been sworn in. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Thank you, Bird. Miss Barnes, you and this young lady live in a fourplex together. Does not live there. Is that correct, sir?
No.
With regard to her father, it is your allegation that he damaged your car while it was on the premises of the fourplex. Your car was repaired, and you want the $500 deductible that you had to pay. The defendant, Mr. Ponce, says that while he acknowledges he hit your car because you were parked in a spot you shouldn't have been in. And if you hadn't been parked in that spot, he wouldn't have hit you. That's your defense.
Yes, ma'am.
You also have an allegation that both parties have engaged in a course of conduct that justifies a cause of action for harassment. Both Mr. Ponce and his daughter, who is the tenant, have a counterclaim for harassment. How long have you been living in this fourplex?
I've been living there over a year now. April of 2019 is when I initially moved in.
And how long have you been living there, Ms. Ponce?
I've been there since March 8th of 2018.
So you've been living there longer?
Yes.
And you live there by yourself?
I live there with my 4 children.
At some point, I gather, things were relatively quiet until the plaintiff and your boyfriend got into some sort of a confrontation.
Yeah, about the
Over
parking.
parking.
Yes.
When was that?
This was, I believe, April 7th.
So before this, you and Miss Barnes,
Only
is that
regarding
right?
her
Yes,
dog.
that's correct.
So you had no issues before the boyfriend had an
Yes.
issue. Is he still the boyfriend?
Yes, he is.
Tell me very briefly what happened on the 7th of April with regard to the parking space and Miss Ponce's boyfriend.
Yes, so April 8th was the initial day, which I do have photos of the vehicle blocking my patio. I was coming home from work around 5:40. I normally make it home. And the black Cadillac, which is Brittany's baby's father, was in my parking spot. Where I park is the patio, and it's also access to my garage. So I couldn't access my garage to park in or the front of my patio.
May I see it?
So this is a photo that was taken in April 8th when I came home from work.
So the picture of this car is Miss Ponce's boyfriend's car.
Yes, that's correct.
Can you point in that picture where your garage is or your parking space?
Well, I'm going to show this other photo, which is better. My place is here. The garage is actually right across from it.
So the defendant's boyfriend's car was blocking you from either parking right behind your house or making the turn into the garage.
Yes, that's correct.
So what did you do?
So I went to knock on the door, and of course he came right outside. I said, "Can you move your vehicle because I'm trying to go ahead my patio?" He says, "I can move my vehicle for you to park in your garage, but I'm going to park my car back right there," meaning if I need to come back out, I have to knock on the door for you to move your vehicle again. Of course, he's a very tall gentleman, and I'm a female. So I did call the police to go ahead and try to get him to move the vehicle, which they did, and I was able to park there, and everything was squashed that day.
No.
But no police report was made that day.
Okay. Now, Miss Ponce.
Yes.
Stop shaking your head.
Okay.
So your boyfriend was parked right behind her patio.
Yes, right by the side of her patio.
That is her patio.
Yes.
Did you tell him that he could park there?
No, I didn't. He decided to park there just because, sorry.
So you're the tenant.
Yes, I told him to move the car, but he was like, it's not a parking spot for her. I could park there. So I said, you know what, you deal with it then because it's your car. So he decided to deal with it himself. But I was outside as a standby witnessing everything.
Okay. Miss Ponce, you know that he was just being a jerk.
I mean, Your Honor, I have the papers saying that she can't
look at
park
me.
there.
Look at me.
Yeah.
Women who understand that sometimes people get jerky. And I just want you to realize what happened. You and your 4 children
Yes.
have lived in this complex, moved in.
Yes.
Jerk comes along, parks where you never parked.
I didn't have a car
And
at
you're
that
the
time.
tenant.
I didn't have a car at that time.
If you did, you wouldn't have parked there, right?
Just to avoid the conflict with her,
If you
yes.
did, well, because it's not the right thing to do. It means that if she has to get into the garage, she has to come knock at your door.
Oh, yes.
And say, can you move your car, or ask the boyfriend to move his car? So clearly, the boyfriend was acting like a jerk.
He could have been, yes, Your Honor. But what gives her
Yeah,
the
he
right
was.
to park right there, and other cars are trying to get in and out of the garage too? Why is that okay?
Just a second.
Okay.
It looks to me as if she parks there. The only person that's impacted by that is her.
Yes.
The next house over can swing into the garage. If there is apartment beyond that, they can swing into the garage. She's the only one that can't swing into her garage if somebody parks in front of her patio. Is that right?
That is right. But if she's parked right there, the other tenants can't get to their garages. They have to squeeze past her because there's trash cans right there, Your Honor. And then her car is right there. So we have to squeeze in between her because she doesn't want to park into her garage where there's nothing in there.
Have you ever had that problem?
Yes, Your Honor. Well, I mean, I've used my garage not for my car.
So you've never had that problem?
Not getting into my garage because...
Is the boyfriend?
Yes.
Okay. Now we get to the incident with your car, Miss Barnes, because that had to do not with the boyfriend.
Yes.
That had to do with Mr. Ponce. Now, Mr. Ponce, I want you to show me where you were parked and where she was parked when you hit her car, because you acknowledged that you hit her car.
I know what pictures I took. Okay, Your Honor. This is a picture where the van was parked, where she stated she could not enter her garage, which is A is her garage, my daughter's garage is B. That's where I was working on the vehicle.
Okay. Just a second. You were working on your daughter's car, because now she has a car.
Yes.
She told me before she didn't have a car.
She had just purchased it.
You're working on her car, parked not near the house, but near the garage.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct?
The garage structure is a separate...
I understand exactly what it is, sir. The garage structure is on the other side of this alleyway.
Yes.
On one side are the apartments, and there's a little space there so that you can swing into your garage. If you park your car there, you can't do both. You can't park in the garage and swing in. But you're in front of your daughter's garage space, and it looks like one of that spot. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Who owns the C space?
The tenants upstairs.
Well, what were you doing working on your daughter's car, blocking their garage?
The tenants upstairs, ma'am, have a vehicle that's not running in their garage, so they don't use their garage as access for parking. I'm aware of that.
Okay, well, you're still blocking somebody else's garage.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just stating a fact.
Yes.
It parked in front of B and C doing work on the car. Now, I want to see on April 7th or 8th if you have a photograph where her car was that you hit.
It's right there, ma'am.
Okay, that's her car.
Yes, ma'am, on her patio side.
Okay, I got it. That's exactly what I thought it was.
Thank you, ma'am.
Your car is the white car.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. And you were in the open garage.
Yes, ma'am.
You were working on your daughter's car, and you were half in front of the B garage, your daughter's garage, and the C garage.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you were backing out, Mr. Ponce.
Yes, ma'am.
You were backing out, and you hit her car.
Yes.
Okay. When you started working on your daughter's car, was Miss Barnes's car there?
No, ma'am.
Okay. When did you see her come in?
She pulled up approximately, I'm going to go to the auto parts store and get a part for the car.
So you knew her car was there?
Yes.
And you backed out and backed into the side of her car, and you went to her door, according to you, and told her you backed into her car.
No, I stayed...
Whatever it is, whether it was an accident, you saw her car pull in. So if she had a $500 deductible, you have proof of your deductible?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I'd like to see a picture of the damage and proof of your deductible. Then you're responsible for her $500 deductible.
So here's the pictures of the damages.
Got it.
And it was all damage to my side mirror and to the driver door.
And can I see the bill with the $500 deductible?
These are the bills from the auto body shop.
Okay, just go
and
down.
I'm sorry, this is the one that's actually showing the $500 deductible that I had to pay towards my car being fixed.
Okay, now let's deal with the harassment. So far we know that there was absolutely no trouble between the two of you. You lived peacefully. The defendant with her 4 children and sometimes with the boyfriend because he's the father of your youngest child?
Yes.
But there was no trouble with you until the jerk.
That's correct.
Until the jerk parked where he shouldn't have. I'd like of the defendants do to harass you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
There's times when I'm on the patio with my dog and people's going to her garage. They're just like mean mugging me. I don't know if they're going to end up going in my place.
I wouldn't smile if I were you, because this thing all got started, Miss Ponce,
Yes.
because of your jerk.
Chanel Barnes says her neighbor's father, Richard Ponce, backed into her car. She is suing Richard and his daughter Brittany for her insurance deductible, rental car fees, and harassment. The defendants are countersuing also for harassment.
I'd like you to tell me what you allege either of the defendants do to harass you.
So the harassment actually took place October 4th. This is the report that I did make towards it. It happened on the weekend. I was coming back from grocery shopping at a local store. Richard Ponce and the other sister that drives a black vehicle was parked right in front of also the patio, again, blocking where I can go into my driveway. So I began to proceed with unloading my vehicle. In the midst of unloading, I noticed the vehicle started to kind of back up, the black vehicle with the other daughter of Richard Ponce. Of course, I have to go ahead and let me move my car so they can get out the way before I unload it. In the midst of me unloading it, I see a lot of head movement, and I don't know her name, Your Honor, but his other daughter started calling me names. They both started to pull their cameras out, started recording me, telling me I don't supposed to be parked there, and I have a dog. Like, they were just saying all type of stuff. He also called me a prostitute, and I do have that on video.
So they were recording you.
Yes.
Parking in the driveway, and you were recording them, and you were exchanging words that were nasty.
Well, I didn't exchange any words. They were mostly doing the name calling.
I don't care about his other daughter, who's not here, who's not a defendant. This woman was not in the car.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to concentrate only on harassment by Mr. Ponce, if that's the incident that you're referring to.
Yes, it is.
Did you ultimately move your car?
Yes, after they left, I was able to pull into my garage. That's correct.
Okay, so they ultimately left.
Yes.
With just some name calling and video.
Yes.
By each of you.
Correct.
Okay, it doesn't rise to the level of harassment. Now, is that the only incident that you have to tell defendants?
Well, also just to go ahead and add also, Brittany have a home where a lot of people traffic, high volume of traffic coming in and out her home and garage. I live alone. My patio is there. There's times when I'm on the patio with my dog and people's going to her garage, mean mugging me. And these are men, and I live alone, Your Honor. I'm a female. I felt intimidated because they're just like mean mugging me. I don't know if they're going to end up going in my place or if they're going to do something to me. It's times when I would have been afraid to go home because of it.
Okay, well, I have to tell you that while I'm sympathetic, it's not actionable. Her guests, if they come in and are behaving in a rude fashion to you that you find intimidating, it's not an actionable form of harassment, what you've told me, and they're not defendants. I wouldn't smile if I were you, because this thing all got started, Miss Ponce.
Yes.
This whole thing got started because of your jerk. You do understand that.
I suppose,
All
Your
got
Honor.
started because of your jerk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I did call her a few names. I didn't call her no prostitute. I used other words. That's when she got really defensive and, oh, why you gotta get all hostile? Why you gotta do this? She proceeded to go in her vehicle and pull out a taser on me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Chanel Barnes says neighbor Brittany Ponce and her father Richard owe for damages to her car and harassment.
You know, you were two reasonable women who lived in a place quietly until your jerk parked where he shouldn't have.
Right.
And when she asked him to move his car, he said, I'll move it so you can get in, but I'm pulling right back there, which means if she wants to get out, she's got to, again, come and knock at the door for him to move the car. He was being a jerk.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Great. All right. So that's what we have in harassment. You've got $500 from Mr. Ponce, which is your deductible, which you're absolutely entitled to. Now, you have a cross-claim for harassment.
Yes, ma'am.
You want to get to it? Go.
I was threatened with the taser the day that she accused me of harassing her. The day that happened, I was servicing my grandchildren's bicycles in the garage. My daughter entered the driveway, didn't get her to exit her vehicle. The plaintiff pulls up right behind my daughter, mind you, videotaping on her phone. She asked my daughter, "What are you doing?" My daughter told her, "I'm trying to leave. Can you move your car?" She stated, "Excuse me." My daughter did use profanity and addressed her. "I am trying to move." Word. That's when she got really defensive and, "Oh, why you got to get all hostile? Why you got to do this?" I told my daughter, she's instigating things. Just back the car up. She did move her car and parked it by her patio where she's not supposed to be parked. And my daughter was backing out. She proceeded to go in her vehicle and pull out a taser on me and threatened me with her taser. And I told her, "I am not scared of your taser, ma'am." I was calling her ma'am. I did call her a few names. I didn't call her no prostitute. I used other words. And, yeah, I was hostile because she called me a drug addict and other things prior to this, but she was instigating this scene. And her neighbor upstairs, I don't know who she is, but...
Don't tell me what anybody said.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Were you helpful to your daughter before the plaintiff moved in?
Yes.
Right. Then the plaintiff moved in.
Yes.
And there were no incidents.
No incidents, ma'am. Not with me.
There were no incidents. No incidents with you. No incidents with your daughter.
No, ma'am.
None. The incident started that all this anger flared up.
No, I wasn't aware of all
because this anger.
Yes.
All this anger flared up because of the jerk.
Right. I understand that she didn't have to take that out on me. I went to her door and...
That's true. Well, that's true. But then we began to take, the parents who were supposed to be cool, you begin to take sides. And now your daughter is aggravated because the boyfriend is aggravated. Can't park there. She's not going to argue with him. She said to him, "You shouldn't park there, but I'm not dealing with it." You know, she just didn't want to deal with him.
Right.
She said, "Not the right thing to do. Don't do it." He got confrontational anyway.
Yes.
So is it still an ongoing problem?
No, it's not. Not with me, Your Honor.
Okay, great. What about with you?
I avoid contact with all matters, Your Honor. I put my head down. I walk in the house. I try not to do any contact with them or people in their home.
Great. And what about you?
Other besides the CPS coming to my house, no.
So Child Protective Services came to your house?
Yes, they did.
And you believe it was as a result of that?
Oh, yes.
I assume they came to the house?
Yes.
And I assume that they found nothing?
Yep.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff of the amount of $500. The counterclaim for harassment is dismissed. We're finished here. Thank you very much.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy, a mother and son with control issues.
I just picked up the frying pan in case she attacked me.
You're a teenager with whom she had a fight and who picked up a frying pan.
Judge Judy.
Honestly, they're unemployed people, and they just sit there and watch me come and go. So honestly, I'm thinking it's jealousy.
Because she thinks she's above the law, and she knew the cop that she called anyways, just like CPS.
That's all false. I don't know any police officers. I don't have any family members that work in the law enforcement or anything.
She threatened me with the taser. She threatened me that if she brings somebody else, they're going to come with more than just a taser.
That's just all false lies.
I'm not going to pay no $3,000 for a scratch on the door.
That's the next step. A restraining order is my next step towards Richard.
Who signed the contract with her to book the date?
My ex-husband and I both did.
Divorce kills a catered party.
You were not a signatory to the contract.
I did sign.
Refund.
It was only signed by your husband
I don't have the complete contract.
because it wasn't your contract.
There's a little bit of a story here.
I know you want to make it a story. This is a contract.
This is Judge Judy. Toby Petricelli is suing caterer Nancy Veretti for the return of catering fees for a party that never happened.
Judge's case number 106 on the calendar in the matter of Petricelli versus Veretti. Both parties have been sworn in.
Thank you, Bird. Ms. Petrocelli, I've read your complaint, and so this is a case involving a written contract.
Correct.
And the contract was for the defendant to cater an event that you were planning. You contacted her, according to your complaint, sometime in July of 2019, and your event was to take place in December.
Correct.
You didn't state what kind of an event this was in your complaint. Is there a reason for that?
It was a celebration for birthdays, retirement, and anniversary. It was a combination of events.
Okay. For the same people?
Correct.
Was it to take place at a hall or at your home?
It was to take place at a hall, at a club.
How were you referred to the defendant?
At the time, my husband had procured her information.
You got the information, signed the contract with her to book the date.
We both did. My ex-husband
You
and
and
I
your
both
husband.
did. Correct.
On what date did you sign the contract?
We signed the contract on July 10th.
And the event was supposed to take place, according to what I've read, on December the 6th.
Correct.
And according to what I've read, you gave her an initial deposit on signing of the contract of $1,500.
That is correct.
With payments to be made periodically. Just a second, I'll get to you in a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
With payments to be made periodically until December 6th.
Correct.
On what date and in what amount was the next payment due?
So there's a little bit of a story here.
No, there's no story. This is a contract.
So,
I know you want to make it a story. This is a contract.
Okay.
You signed the contract on July 10th.
Correct.
2020. You gave her a $1,500 deposit. Is that not the date the contract was signed?
July 18th.
July 18th.
And it's signed
Just a
by
second.
Mr.
Put both-
Petrocelli.
Put up your copy of the contract. Put up your
Mine?
copy of the contract. Yes,
I'm sorry, I
yours.
thought you were talking to Nancy. I apologize.
I got hers, and it says that your former husband signed it on July 18th, and I'd like to see both signed it.
I apologize. I think I only have the one that he signed. I don't have the one that has my signature on that. I will look for that.
Well, you have to have that, and it was signed on the 18th.
We made the deposit to her on the 10th.
Listen to me. The date of the contract is the 18th, and it was only signed by your husband.
Okay.
Now, we'll nuance this in a second, but my next question would be, if your name was on that contract, on what date was the next payment due? Because that's how these events work. You make an initial deposit, and then you make periodic payments in order to secure the date. Now, on what date, pursuant to this contract that only your husband signed, on what date was the next payment due?
The next payment was made on...
No, I didn't ask you. No. Listen to me carefully.
I'm listening.
On what date was the payment due?
The payment?
Just tell me what date, pursuant to the contract, was the payment due?
I don't have the complete contract. Therefore,
Okay,
I do not know that exact date.
Well, then that's part of your problem because it wasn't your contract. On what date was the next payment due, Ms. Faharty?
This is an estimate invoice and supports the contract, and it's something that...
Very simple question. I said, on what date was the next payment due?
August 6th.
Contractually, on or before August 6th, the person who signed that contract had to give you what amount of money on August 6th?
$3,500.
And when was the next payment due?
On November 6th.
And in what amount was that payment?
$3,500.
Now we're going to get to your story. So you made a $1,500. Let's say you were the person who did this contract. Then we'll get to the divorce later and whether or not this was the subject of the divorce proceeding. We'll see. I assume you have that information. On August 6th, you were to make a $3,500 additional deposit. Now, you understand that these additional deposits also, in that contract, it says the date that you're allowed to cancel. How many days prior to the event, and what were the penalties for cancellation pursuant to the contract, Ms. Faharty?
That states no refunds 90 days before the date of the event, and they canceled December 19th, which is approximately 45 days.
Just anything.
Okay.
My simple It was a simple question. And then you'll put it up with a line on what date did the contract provide they could cancel without forfeiting the money that had been paid so far. On what date? Was it 30 days, 60 days, 90 days?
90 days.
In the contract.
In the contract.
Let me see.
Okay. So
90 days.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Okay. Contract, no refunds will be given all days prior to event's original date.
Okay. And that's the contract. That's the refund policy.
Mm-hmm.
On what date did you cancel?
I canceled on Friday, October 16th, when we came back from being out of the country.
Okay. Well, that's less than 90 days. However, you made a combined deposit. You sent $8,000, according to you, or your husband sent $8,000.
I did.
Only $3,500 is forfeited because that was paid on August 6th. The other payment wasn't due until November 6th of 2020, Ms. Fajardo. And if she canceled in October, the other payment really wasn't due. That correctly?
Yes, you're reading correctly. However, there was a change in the terms of the contract based on a request for a discount on the event.
No, show me that in writing. Show me that in writing.
Right here.
Show me that in writing.
I say, hi, Toby. Refigure costs for pay in full discount for review. I figured costs to reflect what the savings would be for a pay in full discount. I showed the discount above the sales tax line, reducing the sales tax savings too. No credit card fees for check or cash. Did review foods for discount and amounts. Take a look. I'm available to review by phone or stop by today or tomorrow. On the new estimate dated 8/5 before
show me where she agreed to those terms.
When she paid the check, because here's the new estimate here. Estimate invoice has to be refigured.
No, I understand. I understand that. Listen to me, Miss Fajardo.
Yes.
She's not getting anything because she has no standing. She is not a signatory to the contract. She has no standing. Do you understand that, Ms. Petrocelli?
Yes.
You are not a signatory to the contract.
I did sign that contract, so I'm trying. I will locate that for you.
Listen, this is the time that we have all evidence. Court, it's been my experience of over 50 years that when there is a contract, and its contract looks like the contract she just showed to me, there are two lines, one for your name and one for your husband's name. Now, did you have an attorney during your divorce proceedings?
Yes, I did.
Did your husband have an attorney?
Yes, he did.
Was this listed as a potential marital asset?
No, it was not.
Well, that's too bad, because if anybody is owed any money, the person who signed the contract may be owed some money. But for two smart people, when you were divorced, you certainly didn't take care of it. You have no claim to this money, Ms. Petrocelli, or any part of it.
The contract is written out in both of our names?
It may be, but you didn't sign it.
Okay.
Maybe, but you didn't sign it. And you had dealings with her. Your husband may have benefited from that, but you can't modify a contract with her that only he signed. And if the two of you at some point agreed to a discounted fee, if you would pay all cash, so it wouldn't go through a credit card because they charge points.
Correct.
And you did, in fact, do that, and you canceled before the 90 days, then you're not entitled to any money. Then your husband wouldn't be entitled to any money. Certainly you're not entitled to it because you're not a signatory to the contract. Anyway, we're done. Thank you very much. Your case is dismissed.
This case is concluded.
One would think that as a business owner, she would do the right thing, but it is what it is.
As a small business person, it's been very, very important to stick to our policies and our rules.
When I contacted her initially, she was very upset that we were going to have to cancel.
They're wonderful people. This was a joyous occasion, and we were all just devastated.
Said she'd get the money to me and then just kept stalling. So this is why we ended up here.
Boy, if she wants a party, she's still got one with me.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bennett versus Robinson. Step forward.
Giselle Bennett is suing her neighbor, Shannon Robinson, for crashing his car into a retaining wall on her property.
Miss Bennett, you're sleeping.
Yes.
It's August 18th,
Yes.
2012.
Yes.
And you hear a commotion.
Yes.
Wakes you up.
Yeah.
Turns out this commotion is a result of the defendant's car wrapping itself around your garden and the wall of your garden.
Right.
And you want the defendant to pay for the damage.
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Oh, Mr. Robinson, what am I going to do with you, sir? Let me just refresh your recollection as to what you swore to in your answer.
Giselle Bennett claims her neighbor, Shannon Robinson, crashed his car into a retaining wall on her property. Shannon says he has no idea what happened.
So, what kind of car do we have?
96 Chevrolet Caprice.
And on August 18th, where were you and where was your car?
Well, from my knowledge, the last time I remember my car being in my driveway, parked on a...
Just a second. The last you remember your car, Mr. Robinson, it was on your driveway.
Yes.
And that was when?
August 18th, 17th, the day prior to the incident.
So I want to understand this. You had parked your car
Yes.
on your driveway the night before this happened, and that's the last you knew of it.
Yes.
Oh, Mr. Robinson, what am I going to do with you, sir? Let me just refresh your recollection as to what you swore to in your answer. You said, I did park my car in front of plaintiff's home on the evening of August 18th because I was having people over and wanted my guests to park in my driveway. You remember writing that?
Yes.
Well, that's a little different from what you just told me. See, what you just told me, which I repeated to you, where you parked it. You're the registered owner of that car, correct?
Yes, I am.
And in what city and state do you reside?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Now, Georgia is one of those states that require cars to have insurance.
Yes.
Not necessarily collision insurance, but it requires you to have liability insurance in case you do damage to someone else's property or person.
Yes.
So if your car, I don't care who's driving the car, if your car causes damage to the plaintiff's property, because you don't deny that her property was damaged.
Yes.
You deny you're responsible.
Exactly.
So if your car was insured, the insurance would have paid for the damage to her property.
Yes.
But your car was not
Insured.
insured.
Yeah.
And according to you, in either version of the story, either the one you told me or the one you swore to in your answer, you drove the car. Because in the story you told me before, you drove the car and parked it in your driveway. The story that you wrote to me in the answer was you drove the car and parked it in front of her house because you wanted your guests to be able to park in your driveway. Either way, you drove an uninsured car. Why did you do that?
I mean, Your Honor, I know it's... Because we're neighbors.
I know your neighbors.
We're neighbors. I moved it a couple of feet.
You turned it on, right? You turned it on.
Yes.
Now I want you to think very carefully. Now that we know that one of these versions maybe is true, was the car parked in front of her house or in your driveway?
In front of her house
Her
on
house.
the street. Yes.
And you did that because?
So that I have room for my guests to park and be able to get out when they left my house.
When you parked the car in front of her house, did you leave the keys in the car?
No, ma'am.
Now, the car ended up not in front of her house.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He knows he has to pay for it. He wouldn't even argue with me that he doesn't have to pay for it. Isn't that right, Mr. Robinson?
I feel like I don't have to pay for it because I...
Oh, you don't want to go there, Mr. Robinson?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Giselle Bennett claims her neighbor, Shannon Robinson, crashed his car into a retaining wall on her property. Shannon says he has no idea what happened.
Now, can I see pictures of where the car ended up?
Yes.
Did you see who got out of the car?
No, ma'am.
Well, that's a lot of damage, Mr. Robinson, that would have been taken care of, sir, if you had insurance. Now you're going to answer my question that I asked you a little while ago. Why didn't you have insurance?
I believe my insurance had got canceled 2 days before or the day of the party.
Why?
Non-payment.
Well, they don't cancel it without putting you on notice. So they send you a letter. The letter says if you don't pay, you're not going to have insurance.
Yes.
And you just ignore that. Now, do you work, Mr. Robinson?
As of now, I do.
No. Then. August, listen to me very carefully. August 18th, 2012, were you working?
No, ma'am.
In whose house were you living?
My mother's.
What were you doing in August of 2012?
Looking for work.
You looking for work?
Applying online, going to job career centers, job fairs.
And how would you get there? Got where I'm going?
Yeah.
You have an estimate to fix this damage. I think I've got Mr. Robinson. He's got me. He's not a bad guy. You know, he didn't murder anybody. He had a party. Somebody got loaded and caught for it. He wouldn't even argue with me that he doesn't have to pay for it. Isn't that right, Mr. Robinson?
I feel like I don't have to pay for it because I
Oh, you don't want to go there, Mr. Robinson?
Because
You don't want to go there, sir? I just explained to you that if you had a car that had insurance, your insurance company would have paid for it because it would have been your responsibility.
But then that'd be a case of me not having insurance. We're dealing with the car being in her yard.
You think it flew into her yard?
I didn't do it, man.
It flew?
I didn't do it. When I woke up, on my knowledge of...
You don't have to do it. You're responsible for it. It's your car.
So if somebody crashed my car, I'm responsible to pay for that?
Absolutely. That's what you have insurance for.
Yeah, I have a letter from his insurance company that said his policy was canceled on July 22nd.
Well, that's not the day before. That's not a day before. That would be a month before.
I got that letter. I got that letter 2 days before saying that my insurance...
Oh, well, maybe you were too busy to open your mail.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on...
Bill to fix the damage. You did fix it, did you not?
Yes.
Okay.
One of those pictures shows it being fixed. These are the estimates that I got. One was
Well, how much did it cost you to have it fixed?
$350.
That's a bargain. My goodness, Mr. Robinson, you should go over and give her a big hug and a kiss. She got the best possible price for you, $350. Why didn't you give her money for it? You working now?
Yes, I'm working now.
Yeah,
I didn't know anything about a civil suit against me until a week ago.
Well, now you know.
They moved out of the neighborhood.
Now you know.
They moved out of the neighborhood. I had no contact with them. I seen the wall was fixed, but I had no contact with them.
We still live in the neighborhood.
But not in the same house.
Yeah, we still live in the same
Same house.
I haven't seen them. I haven't seen them.
You haven't seen him?
No, ma'am.
Well, you must be busy working.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. $350 judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy. An old RV needed some TLC.
The body itself has not lasted.
Nobody's fine.
Next Judge Judy.
She heard all the evidence and found that he indeed was responsible for fixing my wall.
I offered to repair the wall. I offered to pay.
I'm just thankful nobody was hurt.
I mean, I feel something was unjust about it.
A wife finally had enough.
Does your husband have a lawyer in the divorce?
He don't even know I'm filing for the divorce. I haven't spoken with him since I left.
But her mother-in-law...
You were living with your son and his wife?
Yes.
...stands behind her son.
Your Honor, she's not filing for a divorce. She haven't filed for the divorce, and she's not. I will, as soon as I get home. I left the house due to domestic violence.
This is Judge Judy. Calvina Zeno is suing her estranged mother-in-law, Regina Marzette, for the value of a Samsung tablet and unauthorized charges made on a joint bank account.
Judge's case number 99 on the calendar in the matter of Zeno versus Marzette. Parties have been sworn in.
Miss Zeno, you are still currently married to the defendant's son.
Yes.
When were you married?
2007.
When did you move out or did he move out?
I left the house due to domestic violence.
It's your claim that you left behind a tablet, a Samsung tablet, and that the defendant at one point said she didn't have it, but then she did, in fact, have it and used it once, according to you. Where is the tablet now?
She has it.
Did you find her tablet?
I had seen it. She had left the tablet there. I never used it or have it. And she came back to the house 3 or 4 times.
Where is it?
I believe it got stolen. My son had left it outside on the gate to go in the apartment, and he came back. The bag was gone.
Was he living with you?
I was living with them.
Okay. She doesn't have your tablet.
I never used it.
From 2 years ago. Now, you have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim is money owed for credit card charges.
Yes.
I assume these credit card charges were made prior to 2018, were made when you were living with your son and his wife?
Yes. We had it was around 2016. I let her start using it, put on the authorized user, and we had agreement. As long as she paid it, I didn't care what she used it for or whatever. As long as she made monthly payments on it. And May of this year, she stopped making payment. Then she made 2 more payments, though. She stopped because I used it. We also had a bank account together, Wells Fargo, a DMV, $35. And so she closed the account, and I didn't know until I tried to use it. And then I texted her saying the account is closed. She said, yeah, I closed it because you made $35 charge on it and went over her account.
We're not getting involved in this.
Okay, that's when she stopped. And then she
fiasco that happened in 2018.
But she was making payments up to this year, and then I'm telling you the reason why she stopped it first. Because I used the card that she was making the payment up for with the credit card payment with, and the account went over, and she closed the account. And then, but then
do you have a lawyer in your divorce?
No.
Does your husband have a lawyer in the divorce?
No, I'm the one that's filing for the divorce. I have to turn in my paperwork. He don't even know I'm filing for the divorce.
Okay.
I haven't spoken with him since I left.
Okay. Does your husband work?
I'm not sure. I don't communicate with him anymore.
Your mother-in-law says that you had an individual agreement with her to use a credit card prior to 2018. What was that credit card used for?
The card was used for her son charges. I also made charges on the card. I used it for my guard card, which I believe is paid off. Like she said, I've been paying it since the card been on there, but our card got towed a few times. Security guard card license.
Okay, and how much was that for the guard license? Since 2018, of how much a month on the card?
$150.
Do you have the credit card receipts or the bills that show how much she was making payments on? I'd like to take a look at them.
I'd like to show you this. This one I stop her from using it, showing the balance. When I stop her from authorized to use it because when it went over $5,000.
Who else is an authorized user on that card?
No one else. I didn't even use it, Your Honor. I make no charges on it.
Prior to 2018?
I have never used that card myself.
Not you.
No one else, Your Honor, used the card. Not even me.
Do you have a card?
I have other cards. That's why I only set that aside for her to use, for I wouldn't have no disagreement with the charges.
Tell me what you used the card for before 2018.
All I can remember is using it for is my guard card and to get the cars towed out because he kept getting our cars towed. So we had these, she said, for emergencies, and we used it to get it towed out, but I continue to make the payments. That's why I don't understand why she's saying that it went over $5,000. Last time I seen it was at $4,800, and that was years ago.
Your Honor,
I don't understand. I never seen the statement, so I have no clue what's on there. I don't know who used the card.
I have statements she used it for her car insurance monthly.
Just to pay a Progressive insurance bill?
No, all my car insurance bills was paid on my bank account.
I don't have Progressive, Your Honor. This is all her charges and the wireless phone.
What year did you say was it, ma'am?
September 17th.
2008. This 2000.
Did you pay?
In 2018?
Yes, it was
2018. No, in 2020.
No, this is 2018 right here. This one she was still...
Listen to me. This is a marital debt. These bills were accrued prior to the time that your son and
But our agreement was... I had agreement with her. As long as she pay on it, it's like...
What I'm telling you, it is a marital debt. Some judge, when she files for divorce, is going to determine whether this credit card...
Your Honor, she's not filing for a divorce. She hasn't filed for the divorce, and she's not.
I have the paperwork at home.
She's not.
Well, I think that you should do that.
I will.
Because...
As soon as I get home.
Because I'm dismissing her counterclaim without prejudice. You have to file for a divorce so a judge can determine how much of this bill is a marital debt and whether your husband, her son, is responsible for any part of that bill. Like if a car was towed and it was his responsibility, but it was paid for on this card. I don't know, and I have absolutely zero interest in finding out, because is look at the equities of the parties and what they have and say this car payment, this bank account, this credit card bill, this is either marital property or individual property. And if those charges were made prior to 2018, some judge in a matrimonial part is going to determine that they're marital property, marital debt, which means that your son may be responsible for some, all, or none of that debt. Do you understand? Okay.
Yes, but...
Well, I understand. And I'm the only one who has to understand. Goodbye, good luck, have a happy life.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
To build up her credit.
She wanted to help me build my credit.
She didn't have credit at the time.
I wasn't the only one to make the charges on the card.
I still love her, but she went on with her life, so I let her be.
It's time to file them divorce papers.
All parties in the matter of Lyons versus Munoz. Step to the podium, please.
Phillips Lyons Jr. is suing his former landlord, Inez Munoz, and her daughter, Roxana Munoz, for wrongful eviction, the return of his security deposit, and damaged property.
Mr. Lyons, you were a tenant of the defendants for 3 years.
Yes.
And you had a security deposit of $1,400.
Yes.
With the defendant. Your complaint seeks sent you $500. She retained $900 of the security deposit.
Yes.
In addition, you're asking for other money for a whole lot of nonsense. Damaged property as a result of a pipe burst in February of 2020. You didn't move out until July. I assume the damaged property that you're referring to is the damaged property as a result of the pipe bursting.
No.
What damaged property as a result of what?
The roof leaking. There was heavy rainfall at the end of 2019, beginning of this year, that ruined our furniture, causing mold in the house. There was water throughout the house, damaging the furnace.
Okay, I get Mr. Lyons, understand this, sir. You're a renter. If there's a leak or a burst pipe and your stuff is damaged, that's what renter's insurance is for. That's what homeowner's insurance is for. Yeah. That's not what this nonsense is. That's why I'm saying there's a whole bunch of stuff here that's nonsense. You want the return of your security deposit. You also put in a claim here for wrongful eviction. But I read your complaint, and I read in your complaint that you gave her a 30-day notice on July 21st.
Yes.
You gave her notice. She didn't evict you. You gave her notice that you were moving out. Where did you move to?
Long Beach.
Who did you move in with?
My witness.
That why you gave her a notice on July 21st?
Yes.
That you were moving in with a new roommate? Yes, so she didn't evict you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Is that all your junk out there? Sir.
The property damage,
Is
yes.
that all your junk out there?
Yes.
That's not property damage stuff. That's stuff you didn't want. There's a broom there. That's ridiculous.
Phillips Lyons Jr. is suing his former landlord, Inez Munoz, and her daughter, Roxana Munoz, for wrongful eviction, the return of his security deposit, and damaged property.
Okay. Now let's talk about the return of the security deposit. Then the burden's on her. You had $1,400 of his security deposit. You returned $5. It's your responsibility to show me photographs of why you retained $900 of his security deposit.
Okay, $200 for the trash that was left in the curb. I have pictures.
Oh, so you have pictures and a bill or a receipt?
Yes.
For who you paid to get rid of it?
Yes.
Good. I'd like to see the photographs and the bill.
Is that okay? The next one?
Yes, well, that's not too...
Okay. Yes.
Is that all your junk out there? Sir?
The property damage,
Is
yes.
that all your junk out there?
Yes.
That's not property damage stuff. That's stuff you didn't want. There's a broom there. That's ridiculous. Okay, so $200. Can I see the bill for removing all that trash?
There's going to be 2 bills, okay, for the cleaning.
Yes, I'd like to see them both. That says cleanup.
Yeah, it's $200 for the cleaning the curb and $200 to clean the apartment.
Okay, so $200 for cleaning the curb.
Yes.
Now, I didn't see pictures of inside the apartment. What are you alleging was wrong inside the apartment? So you do understand you owe her. She rightfully withheld $200 so far for cleaning up the trash that you left outside.
I don't
Well,
agree
I'm telling
to that.
you, you do.
Okay.
I don't care whether you agree to it or not. That's your trash to get rid of, not somebody else's. What is that?
Okay, these are the boxes, the refrigerator boxes where you keep your vegetables. That's one of them. Fungus.
Okay, what else?
This is the kitchen counter.
Well, I don't know what is on there.
What
are you showing me?
They're stains.
The stains, I don't know if you can see, it's a yellow, very deep yellow.
Very sticky with lack of cleaning.
What else? What color is it? Is it
This
white?
one is, the shelf is black, but this is a white stuff.
Stains. There's stains on the black.
What else? Did you take pictures, Mr. Lyons, of when you left the house?
Yes.
Did you take photographs? May I see them, please? Don't show me anymore. What is that?
Those are the pictures of the mold and whatnot growing in the bedroom.
No, I just want,
like that.
I want to see, sir. Is this how you left the apartment? I just want to see if you left it clean. Is what I'm not looking at your mold. I'm finished with your mold. Get homeowners insurance.
Okay.
Looks like he left the inside pretty clean.
And that's one.
Go ahead. Keep going. Is that when you left, sir?
Yes.
Go ahead. What are you showing me?
Of the kitchen cabinets. That's just one of the kitchen cabinets.
If they were cleaned out?
Mm-hmm. They were clean. There wasn't anything in them. That's the bathroom.
Okay. Got it. All right, Mr. Lyons, I don't have to see anymore. Okay. When Mr. Lyons left, he left in, did you leave in August, sir?
August 1st.
You left August 1st. When did you re-rent the apartment?
September 3rd. September 3rd. It took me a month to clean.
No, it didn't take you a month to clean.
No.
Sorry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Listen to me, sir. She didn't wrongfully evict you. You gave her notice. You had a kerfuffle about the date because you were sleeping. You don't get up until 2 o'clock. Then she called you. She wanted her rent. I'm not interested.
And later today,
You say I abandoned them. I was just miserable with humiliation, so I left them there.
Well, who would want those things back after she had been with some other guy and
I
on
don't
those
know.
things?
Maybe I wouldn't, but maybe Bird would.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Phillips Lyons Jr. is suing his former landlord, Inez Munoz, and her daughter, Roxana Munoz, for wrongful eviction, the return of his security deposit, and damaged property.
Okay. He left August 1st. You paid $200 to take away his trash, which you shouldn't have left there. That's really your job, to hire somebody to take away all your garbage.
I did. She had told me that when she took those pictures and stuff of the place and the trash, she's like, these needs to be cleaned up. And she's like, you need to come back after she had wrongfully evicted us. And I had told her, I was
She didn't wrongfully evict you.
Well, the agreement was for us to be out on the 21st. And on the
I don't, listen to me, sir. She didn't wrongfully evict about the date because you were sleeping. You don't get up until 2 o'clock, according to you, to go to work. And she called you. She wanted her rent. I'm not interested.
I have a proof.
I just asked you about the trash that you left behind. I'm just asking you, are you telling me that you paid to have it taken away?
Yes, I had it arranged. I had the city to come on that same week to come get it. And Roxanne knows about this because I had told her, said, okay. And then she's like, no, I'm not waiting that long. And then she got it taken care of herself.
Yeah,
and I had let her
blame
know via text.
I don't blame her. I don't blame her. So far, you're entitled to your $700 back of the $900. She paid $200 to have somebody clean up that junk that you left outside. The apartment looked pretty clean to me. And if you were lucky enough to have the apartment vacant only for 1 month, and Mr. Lyons was living there for 3 years, you have to paint the place anyway. You have to get it into shape. You can't rent it again right away. You know that.
Right.
Ridiculous. Okay, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $700. We're finished.
Your Honor?
Thank you.
Your Honor?
We are finito.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Got sick because of the mold.
The way it was delivered to them and the way it was delivered back.
We told her about it, and she told us to clean it ourselves.
Not to be nice anymore.
Not to be so nice. They always paid late.
And now, the next case.
Step forward.
Amy Lauder is suing her ex-boyfriend, Chris Draper, for an unpaid loan to get his truck fixed.
Miss Lauder, you claim that the defendant owes you for the balance of a loan to repair his truck.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me about that.
Back in July, at the end of July, his truck broke down and he needed to...
That would be July of 2012.
Yes. He needed money to repair it and he didn't have money. So he asked me to loan him $900 so he could fix his truck. And he promised...
And why would he ask you to make a loan to him?
He knew that I'd gotten money. My mom passed away back in 2011 and she left me some money. And so he asked me if he could borrow that money.
Were you dating at the time?
At the time I loaned him the money, we were not dating.
When had you stopped dating?
We'd broken up at the beginning of July of 2012.
On what date did you ask her for this money?
I'd never asked her
Are
for the
your
money.
hands in your pockets?
Yeah. She offered me the money.
No. You can't offer somebody money unless they know that you need money. Listen to me, I want you to follow. If I called Bird and we're talking and I say, you know, I have this truck that needs repair and I don't have any money, and Bird says to me, oh, I can help you out with that. That's understandable. But somehow it has to be communicated to Bird that my truck broke down.
Captioning sponsored by. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, did you receive a call from the truck company?
No, ma'am.
So you received a call from the truck company at your house?
No, I was at her house when it was on my cell phone.
So you were at her house when you got a call and you say, bring, hello, right? Got it?
I said, oh no, what am I going to do? I need some money. She's like, I'll give you money.
Oh, great.
Because I got money from...
How much does he owe you? That sounds so ridiculous.
I borrowed him $900.
No, you didn't borrow him
Loaned
anything.
him $900, and he paid me back $100.
Okay, good. Now we have a counterclaim, so that takes care of the $800 that you owe her. Now you have a counterclaim, and you said, I purchased a washing machine, a couch, a recliner, a TV, and a desk, and I didn't take these items with me because I just left the house. So?
So we had broken up.
Just a second, you said you left, and you said, I didn't take these items with me because I just left the house we shared after humiliation I endured when I found out that she had been cheating on me for almost a year. So what are you countersuing for?
For the things that I left.
That's what you're saying in here. I left them there because I was just miserable with humiliation, so I left them there a year ago.
Well, who would want those things back after she had been with some other guy and
I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't, but maybe Bird would. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $800. Your counterclaim's dismissed. Goodbye.
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy. Made to move in the middle of the virus.
I didn't evict anyone. I put a pay or vacate, which is different from eviction.
I don't think that you could do that.
Next Judge Judy.